Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Welcome to Red Storm Chasers. I'm Vincent here with Craig, Tim, and Nick. On this episode, we'll talk about the loss at Creighton, the doubleheader against Seton Hall. We'll have an interview with the head student manager, Gabe Samangy, and we'll look ahead to the Villanova matchup on Saturday. Guys, how was your weekend?
Pretty good. Got to enjoy a lot of football this weekend. A lot of great games.
Great football weekend.
A lot of bad losses gambling.
Not too fun there on the losses and the gambling, but it was a great weekend of football, to be completely honest.
It was the best weekend of football. I would argue, certainly with the best playoff weekend of football probably ever. Some of the greatest games. The Buffalo Bills Kansas City Chiefs games is an all-time great game. Back and forth. It was just insane. It's a shame that Josh Allen didn't get the ball at the end, because it was really whoever had the ball last was going to win, and it's just unfortunate that the NFL has stupid overtime that doesn't let both teams get the ball.
Just a terrible overtime. The worst overtime system. Maybe not the worst overtime system. Actually,
no, it is because
it is the worst overtime system, because it just doesn't. It doesn't. It only benefits one team. The coin toss is the most important play of the entire overtime.
Yeah, because even even they're like, okay, well, you changed it, right? Because you can now hold them to a field goal, and then you don't get it. Yeah, except that if you're the first team, you get a field goal. The other team gets a field goal. You get the ball back, you get a field goal, you win. So essentially, you won the coin toss. You had the advantage of that. You win.
Right.
It's the stupid part about it is there's a better solution that we already have on the table. College football already does it better. So why wouldn't you just do that? You can make alterations so it's not from the 25. I get that. If they don't want to do that, that's fine. But there's no reason to just alter it to your needs. It's the better system. Both teams get the ball. It's fair. It's exciting too. It's exciting.
But we would never get the Matt Hasselbeck moment.
We want the ball. We're gonna score.
Pick six.
You could still have that. There's pick sixes in college football.
Actually, that's true. A pick six would end it anyway because your team didn't score.
It is, but it doesn't feel as definite. So what I'm getting at is when the team wins the coin toss in the NFL and you make the statement, we're going to drive down, we're going to score, a.k.a. we're going to win.
True.
What does that mean in college? Okay, we'll get a second chance, so cool.
But you won't. If you throw a pick six in college, you still lose.
But
the confidence of it.
I see what you're saying.
I think it shows actually kind of who has a more well-rounded team, who has a more of both sides of the ball. Because, in their case, Josh Allen didn't get the ball. All you got to see was Kansas City's offense and the Bills' defense. That was it. You didn't get to see Kansas City's defense and the Bills' offense. Whereas if it was, if they shifted it back, obviously they couldn't do 25. They'd probably have to do 40 or 50.
Yeah.
And if they did that, you would get to see, you wouldn't get to be I'm going to go down and score. You could still say that, and you can do that, but then it's all right, I still need the other part of my team to do the job. So you actually get to see who's kind of a better team, I would say. I'd make the argument for.
Yeah. I think it makes more sense.
Well, the positive we should all really focus on is Tom Brady is not in the playoffs anymore.
That is a great point.
That's the best part of the whole weekend.
Yeah. Should we guard Cooper Kupp, the top receiver in the NFL? Nah, we good.
I couldn't believe he was that wide open on the last play. It's just...
Neither could Matthew Stafford.
Neither could Cooper Kupp. So, Nick, how was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty good. Started on Saturday, really, with St. John's game at noon. It wasn't the best game. We'll talk about it in a little while, but I got to see a lot of the people that I graduated, were managers with me, which was really fun. Sunday, I didn't get to watch all the games. I got to watch part of the Bucks game, but I had to take a final for my winter course that day, so it was bittersweet. That Sunday, got to study all day, but I couldn't get to watch the games.
I was excited on Saturday that I got to start the day with Daily Burger. That made me pretty excited, I'm not going to lie. Haven't had one yet all season.
After all that food talk last episode,
I know. I was hyped about it, and it was as advertised. It's delicious.
I didn't get Daily Burger or popcorn. I got chicken and waffles.
What the hell did you get? Oh, chicken and waffles.
Yeah, they have a chicken waffles there.
I didn't know they had a chicken and waffles there.
I didn't get No, so I was so one of my good friends, Brian Peters, used to be a manager with me and a head manager. He runs the thing for like the Red and White Club, and because I'm a former manager, we're part of the St. John's basketball family that gets to go in for free.
Yeah, look
So
at you.
yeah, they had free chicken and waffles there. So that was pretty sweet.
Nice.
That's a big win.
It's a big W. But I
I-
kind of just wanted popcorn. As I went on the last time, I'm a simple kind of guy. I like popcorn.
I was not at the game. I was working. I had a doubleheader that I was working for my job. But, you know,
On your
it,
birthday.
it was my birthday, so I missed the game, and it was a terrible outcome on my birthday. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah.
We move on.
Well, your job sends you to the military.
That's right. I was in Annapolis, Maryland, which was, always beautiful to be down in Annapolis and be on campus down there. It's really special. And I was actually working Army Navy, so it was kind of cool to see, just to be part of that rivalry was pretty awesome. And seeing, I was there early in the morning, so seeing me being cold and being like, damn, this sucks. I'm awake at like 4 o'clock in the morning when there's like guys in full uniforms like running for their like daily routine. I was like, okay, you know what? It's not that bad.
It'll humble you real quick.
Yeah, for sure. But beautiful down there in Annapolis. If you get a chance, it's a good place to go to for a game. Let's get into some St. John's basketball.
That's what we're here for.
That's what we're here for.
So let's just talk right about the last Seton Hall game and not talk about anything else.
If only it was that simple, Tim. If only it was that simple. So last week we had an unfortunate matchup on Wednesday. The worst loss of the season by far, 64-87 loss to the Creighton Blue Jays in Omaha. We had joked now because we lost by 20 points that was a game we thought we could win, and we were wrong.
Dead wrong.
Dead wrong. It was a game we talked about Omaha being a tough place to play, and we weren't wrong about that. It was a tough place to play, particularly for us, considering we never got off the bus. Alex O'Connell led all scorers with 28 points. For St. John's, Julian Champagny led with 17 points. Aaron Wheeler had 16, and Ade Wusu had 10. Those were 3 double-digit scorers. Arthur Kaluma also had 20 points for the Blue Jays. Did a good job on turnovers, 19 turnovers for Creighton. We only turned the ball over 10 times. Got absolutely demolished in the rebound area, 50-31, almost as bad as the score. And, there's not a lot of good takeaways from this game. We never got off the bus. We just it looked like we didn't know what we were doing. We looked like we were a mess, and it was hard coming away from that game because I thought that was a game we could steal to play like we played and be so disappointing that it really hurt my confidence on Wednesday night.
You guys told me that I was a fool, that they're not good at shooting threes. We don't have to worry about them shooting threes. What did I say? I know, but they're Creighton. They're Nebraska kids, middle of nowhere. All they know is how to shoot. So what happens? We have 3 guys who killed us. One guy O'Connell went 6 for 9. Kaluma went 4 from 5. And Hawkins went 3 from 5. They killed us.
They're still 9th in the league in
31.9%
shooting.
from the 3-point line.
Again,
Not against us.
Our game plan is to leave them open
Yeah,
at
that's
the
true.
3-point line.
That's true.
Well, there's a difference between what we normally do, where we're a second off because we're pressuring and they're open. No. O'Connell was open like it was a halftime shooting contest, like he was trying to win a T-shirt.
I feel like we didn't even cover him. Like the plan when he had the ball at 3 was like, let him shoot.
There was at least 3 times where no one ran to him.
Yeah, I mean, it was the 3. First of all, they shot very well from the 3-point line. I mean, 14 for 27. It is easier when, as Tim said, they were open. They were pretty wide open. This game was over. No, sorry. This game was over pretty early on. We were down big very quickly. O'Connell went off in the first half, and this kind of just coasted into a crushing loss. It was really not really close at all.
As a team, we only shot 38.6% from the field. It's going to be hard to win games when your opponent shoots 51% from 3 and you only shoot 38% from the field. You're just not going to win games like that. And it's not only because we were bad at shooting. Their defense was good, and their offense helped their defense a lot. So them nailing the threes, it's going to be hard to beat anybody when they shoot 51% from 3. But it's going to be particularly hard when you're not making shots on the other end.
Yeah, I think not only did we have a bad game, they also, to their credit, had probably their best game of the season. So you can say what you want about whatever, but we played our worst game. They played their best game. The outcome, obviously, when that happens, is not particularly good for the team that has their worst game. So that's what happened to us on Wednesday night. It was just a massacre. The one bright spot I do want to bring up, though, was Aaron Wheeler continued his recent string of success, and he's turned the corner and has become an invaluable piece of this team, and someone that is going to key us going forward.
One other thing I want to note, just as like an always little for it's like a game inside of a game. How were the 3 free throws in this game? 5 from 12, 41.7%. As bad as we played, as awful as we played, you could still make your free throws. That's still 7 points you gave up. I mean, it doesn't really matter when you lose by 23, 20? But could have lost by 16. Just looks a little better. I don't know. Free throws.
No, you're right. It's always good to hit your free throws no matter what happens. And it is something we've struggled with, and we went back. We had 2 good games of free throw shooting, and it looked like in that game we kind of went back on the snide. But you know what I mean? In that whole game we didn't play well, so it take it with a grain of salt. And we see in the next 2 games that wasn't necessarily the same point.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just take that Wednesday night, you clear the memory bank, and move on to the next game. Frankly, that's the only way you can do. You had a bad night, and we move on.
You had a bad day. Take a one down.
Absolutely. I mean, just get rid of it. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's done with. Move on.
At the end of the game, when Braziller was asking questions to Anderson and the team, Aaron Wheeler came out and said the team wasn't disciplined enough for that game. And honestly, he is 100% right on that.
They certainly looked like it. The first half was just abysmal. But again, it's only 1 loss. Take it as it is and move on.
So we get to talk about the Seton Hall win yet?
No, Tim. We're not going to talk about the win yet. We have to talk about the first Seton Hall game, which was Saturday. 66-60 loss for St. John's. Miles Cale led the way with 21 points for Seton Hall. Aaron Wheeler was the leading scorer for St. John's with 13 points. Posh Alexander, the only other double-digit scorer, which means Julian Champagny snapped his 47-game double-digit streak, having only 9 points. He didn't get there. It was an ugly game. It was an ugly game for both teams, and it was a disappointing loss because it was one where even though we played sloppy, we could have won. 17 turnovers for Seton Hall, good number for us. Only 9 turnovers for us. Those are good numbers. Rebounds, 60-43. We lost that battle once again, but that's become commonplace, so we've kind of got to get past that. Seton Hall had 10 blocks in that game, which I don't understand why we continue to fall into these block teams and just fall apart. It's a constant in the Big East. There's teams that are really good at blocking the ball. There are 2 teams in the top 15 in blocking, and we just get the crap blocked out of us every time. We don't ever change up the game plan. It's like go down, drive, get blocked. It happened a little bit with 10 blocks at Seton Hall. That's a big number. Again, this is a game where it's a home game, Madison Square Garden. We thought we could win, and we just didn't play to the level to get over the hump and win this game.
I mean, frankly, we yes, we could have won, and we kind of should have won. We shot 29.3% from the field, and we lost by 6. How many teams do that?
That's how bad the game
St.
was.
John's.
I know.
Frankly.
Yeah, St. John's, and yeah, you're right. It was a product.
I mean,
it looked awful. I mean, the game was. It was a bad game. It wasn't a
Ne-
well-played game by either side.
So yeah, Nick, it kind of looked like neither team wanted to win this game. The 2 high points for us, though, I thought on my end were Aaron Wheeler had 13 and 7. He continues to grow and become a big part of this offense, like we talked about against Creighton, and like we'll talk again about in the next game. And actually, I think Joel Soriano had a good game. He had 7 points. He didn't get double digits, but he had 14 rebounds, and he was a presence in the paint. And we need him to do that. And our complementary players, if they do that, that's enough to win. I mean, that's solid performance on their end. The problem for us was really our big 3 of Champagny, Adewusu, and Posh really didn't have a great game, and those guys need to be the guys that drive us.
Yeah, with Obiagu getting 7 blocks, that really explains why Wusu was 1 for 12. I'm pretty sure he accounted for at least 6 of those blocks. It was the same thing each and every time, just that nice Euro step, both that slow finish and then a block.
Those 3 guys combined were 7 for 37 on the day, which is we're just not going to win very many games with those guys shooting 7 for 37 from the field. It's almost impossible for us.
And another poor free throw shooting outing for us again, 64.7%. Now, Soriano went 1 for 4 from the free throw line. He's been about 80% for us, so we changed that to 3 for 4. Also, we're back in the 70s. Fluke things like that may drop us, but we have to get back into 70% range for the free throws again because we cannot afford to lose that many points.
I would say also one other thing about this game was that we actually did have good defensive intensity throughout the game. I think we played tough on defense. Part of it was bad shooting, but part of it was good defense. We also just didn't shoot well enough to win. But I think in terms of defensive effort, after Wednesday being kind of a dud, we really got after it on Saturday. We couldn't put the ball in the basket, which is the bigger problem for us.
Tim, we did turn around our free throw shooting on Monday.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
All right. 76% from the free throw line on Monday's victory at Seton Hall in Walsh Gymnasium, an 84-63 win against the Seton Hall Pirates. As sloppy and bad as the game was on Saturday is as good as St. John's played on Monday. This team on Monday looked like the team that we expected to see for the whole season. Everything was flowing. Everything was hitting. And, when you win by 20 points, it feels, like you're on the moon. And it felt like that on Monday. Posh Alexander led all scorers with 19 points. Aaron Wheeler, another extremely good game, 17 points. Montez Mathis with 10 as well were the double-digit scorers for St. John's. Miles Cale led Seton Hall with 16 points. Also with double digits was Roden had 12, Harris had 12, and Trey Jackson had 11. But that was pretty much all of their scoring was their problem. They didn't really get any help from anywhere else. That's why they ended up losing the game by as much as they did. Turnovers was good, actually, not great. 20 turnovers for Seton Hall, 14 for us, which is kind of high for us. We did win the rebound battle, 49-43. Huge number there for us. It's obviously, we've talked about it repeatedly. That's something we lose all the time. Here it is. We won it, led us to a 20-point victory. The only negative you can take out of Monday night, Julian Champagne's play.
Julian had a tough night again. Had a couple of tough nights in a row here. He doesn't seem to be finding a shot. He'll get there. Julian Champagne, he's going to be an NBA player. I have faith that he will turn it around and he'll figure it out. But it was a tough night for him at Seton Hall. He did affect the game in other ways. And what I liked about it was he didn't try. He forced it on a couple of occasions, but for the most part, he kind of let the game come to him. And he did the other things that team leaders do to continue to play well. And so he affected the game by blocking. He had a huge block, which was a huge play. He was getting rebounds. He was making assists. So he was doing the little things. He wasn't a big scorer that night. So hopefully, there will be many nights where Julian leads us with scoring.
There has been, and there will continue to be. Julian's going to find a shot. His line for the night: 5 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 4 blocks. So, like Craig said, he had impacts other places, right? 8 rebounds is good. 3 steals for him is solid. 5 assists for him is very good. 4 blocks is a really good number for him. But the 5 points is not what you like to see from Julian Champagne. We expect him to have more than that. But it was really good to see the rest of the team pick him up. To know that, okay, we are more than Julian Champagne, right? We can win without Julian Champagne scoring 20 points. And we did. And we did significantly. Everybody was on point besides Julian Champagne. And when your best player is not on point, typically you lose. When your best player is not on point and the rest of the team picks it up, it gives you momentum. It gives you a real feeling of, okay, we're a unit, right? We're a unit who can do things, and we don't have to worry about making sure we get Julian the ball to make sure Julian scores all the points. So that way, we're in a position to win. We can do it if he has a bad night. We can pick him up. And I think that's going to go a long way for us towards the end of the season here.
Yeah, also, I can't stand that I brought up Miles Cale in the last episode that out of the past 5 games, he scored double digits in the past.
Well, sometimes it's good to be right, Tim. It's just unfortunate you were right.
Yeah. But he also had a horrible free throw shooting outing on this game. Thanks
in large part,
to Nicholas
Coughlin.
Yep. And honestly, our free throws percentage should have been even higher because they took away an N1 for Naiwi, and they missed both free throws. Then we got the offensive rebound, which, I mean, I appreciate the rebounding, but Naiwi definitely made the basket, got fouled while in the act of shooting, and they said, oh, he double clutched it. He got hit, so he kept shooting.
Yeah, that was an absolutely ridiculous call. I remember when that call happened and then watching it because I was at the game, as we just said. And I remember seeing Anderson getting a little fired up when they made the call, which was, great. Going back on what I said in the last podcast.
Good to see Mike Anderson getting fired up. Let's talk a little bit about you at the game, Nick. You could hear you during their free throws yelling. You were the sole voice in the crowd at Walsh Gymnasium that came through the television yelling.
That person screaming was Nick, just in case anybody was wondering.
Yeah, if you go back and listen to the game, Nick is the guy you can hear yelling.
Yeah.
He was the human air horn.
Yeah, yeah. If you guys are listening, yeah.
Check out our Instagram. You can see the video of him yelling.
Yes, that is on our story, and we have to actually upload that to our highlights thing. But I was the only student. I was decked out in red. I had my red hat on. I had a red shirt on. I had red shoes on. I was in all red. And there's a little cell of St. John's behind the St. John's bench, but everything else is blue. Like
Well, it was
blue.
student tickets only.
Student tickets
so that's
only.
understandable.
They did apparently give some tickets to St. John students, but one St. John student is going to go to South Orange, New Jersey for a game at 9 p.m. on a Monday.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's tough.
Not
It's a
really
hard
likely
ask.
to happen.
I mean, to be fair, at least they did give tickets.
They did.
You
They
got to
said,
respect it. I mean,
they said they
they
did.
said they did.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Maybe not, but if they did, you respect it. I mean, it's kind of a fake, a fake invite because, like you said, 9:00, you got to take the train to South Orange from Queens, which is like a 3-hour train ride. Most of the kids, I mean, if you're driving, it's an hour and a half at least.
Right.
So, like, yeah, it's sure, it's like giving free games to a game at Creighton.
Yeah, and I could tell you one other thing. The kids around me, the students that were sitting around me, absolutely hated me. And I got texts from random people being like, "That sounds unnatural, the noise that you're making." Which, hey, I'm here for it. It clearly messed Kale up. At least, I mean, he missed 3 out of the first 4 he took.
Yeah.
And like the first one, like the first couple, you could, I don't know, maybe I am just over emphasizing my impact on the game, but I think at the beginning it absolutely messed them up. I think they got
It
used
certainly
to it a little
seemed-
bit.
It was loud enough that you could hear it on TV, which is hard to do. And yeah, and
It's also
listen,
because it was so quiet, right? Because it was
Right.
all students, so they were like
Right.
silent.
It was like dead quiet.
and they
in
struggled.
the
I mean, they did struggle with free throws. So, Nick, I'd like to say you had an impact on the game.
I'm not saying I did, but I'm saying, maybe a couple free throws here or there. Maybe the mentality got a little ruined that, there was an invader in their on their home turf.
What they say, a sleeper cell in the mix.
A sleeper cell at Seton Hall,
Yeah.
at Walsh Gym. I got one kind of quick note, a couple of notes real quick. One, it was very intimate setting at Walsh Gym. Because of that, as you guys could hear me, Julian Champagny could absolutely hear everything the students were saying, and the students around me were saying some crazy things. Like crazy things. Like nothing racial, but like obscene things towards him. And I was like, I was just screaming at the top of my lungs, but they were like cursing at him, like really like getting attacking his character kind of a person. It was a little
Like Smith at Indiana or less?
no, like kind of like more. I mean, that was vulgar. This was more like directed, and they only targeted Champagny, not really the other kid.
So maybe that had a big effect on him because it was weird to see Julian Champagny not play great.
One more quick point that's kind of important to note is that Posh Alexander didn't start the game, and he didn't start the second half.
Yeah, and then after they said Mike Anderson said it was a coach's decision that's why.
Is it really a coach's decision, or was there something that happened at practice? You know
I
what
don't
I mean? You're
I
always
think we needed to shake up the starting lineup after the tough loss against Seton Hall, and I think this was the way he did it. He wanted to get Wheeler inserted, and I think he thought Posh would respond coming off the bench, and
well, it definitely
I
worked.
mean,
it
Posh
worked.
responded coming off
Posh
the bench.
responded coming off the bench for sure.
Posh did have a James Harden effect. So he
I mean-
had that, but he is recovering from a groin injury. So,
That's true too. There
Yeah,
was
yeah.
a groin injury. You're right.
but talking about injuries, Pinzone's out again, and thanks to the Twitter of Brendan Wilsh Photography, if you look at his left hand ring finger, he has a splint on his finger. So apparently, Pinzone's got a finger injury, which it's only a splint. It's not a whole arm cast. I'm hoping that he can possibly be back for Nova.
Yeah.
Apparently, he might
Allegedly.
be back from Nova. He might be able to come back for Nova. I mean, I guess it all depends. Obviously, if his finger's injured, then he won't be back for Nova. But we'll see what happens. Just to go back to Pasha's line for a minute, just because he had such a great game: 19 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals. Maybe it motivated him. Maybe he came out hot and said, "You know what? You're right. I don't want to not be in the starting lineup. So let me get some work in."
Also, you love to see Coburn coming off the bench, 3 for 4 from 3.
Yeah.
Nice to see him shooting
It
well
was
again.
nice. Him with that bank shot, that one. We never get that bank shot. That always goes against us, but this time we went for it, and it feels nice. It's great.
And also Wheeler's first double-double of the year.
First and hopefully not last.
All right. Now, joining us on the podcast is St. John's head student manager, Gabe Samangy. Hey, Gabe, how's it going? Good to have you on.
It's good. Glad you guys could finally get me to get on. Listened to some of your podcasts before, so I'm excited.
Cool. So just give us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what year you are at St. John's.
Yeah, so I'm from Pittsburgh, senior year, head into final semester. So looking forward to the last, I guess, half of the Big East season and then wrap up to undergraduate. So
Nice. What's your major?
sports management.
Cool.
Basic. I feel like every manager is a sports management major.
Oh, yeah. I was too. What kind of track do you want to go into? Do you want to go into coaching or do you want to be in like front office or something kind of?
I'd like to do coaching. That's what my track is right now. So
Nice.
Certainly
That's cool.
certainly being the head manager is good way to learn about coaching.
yeah, for sure. Get a first look at everything that goes on every day. So it's pretty cool.
So how different is it being the head student manager than just being a manager like you were in the past?
I would say the hours is one of the biggest thing, and just doing more every day than what you're used to. The coaches rely on you to do a lot more things than a basic than a first year manager or second year. You have to handle all of coaches' bags on the road, so it's your fault if you lose a bag or misplace something, and coach's wife will get on you about it if something's not right or something like that. But it's great. I enjoy every day, so look forward to it every day.
A lot more pressure though, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. If someone messes up, if another manager messes up, it's your fault. You need to take the blame for it. So got to make sure those guys are on point and doing what they have to do.
Have you guys left any bags, like any important bags?
No. Not yet. So
Knock on wood.
there.
Knock on
Yeah,
wood,
exactly.
knock on wood.
But no, I double check and triple check to make sure, just because I'm not taking any blame or can't have that happen. So
obviously the coaches rely on you a lot more, but how has your relationship with the players kind of changed? Do you think you have, more of a bit of an influence in terms of how you're helping them, or is it still kind of similar and like a friendly relationship?
no, I would say so. I mean, we had a big turnover from last year to this year. So the guys coming in this year, I knew firsthand, like in the summer, being around them every day. So I kind of built a better relationship with all of those guys, and having 9 new guys, I believe it is, was, better for me to be around them, just because I could interact with them and stuff like that. I would say the previous years I didn't have that great, especially my first year, because I was new to everything. So that was Anderson's first year. But these guys now, just feel like brothers, honestly. Just going every day and have fun, obviously, but still gotta get the job done every day.
Right. It's awesome though. I mean, it really must be cool. And obviously Nick was a 4-year manager, so he can speak to it a bit too. But going through the whole process of you being a freshman and being with players who are freshmen, and then kind of making your way through them. Obviously, the team has had a bit of a turnaround, as well as like you talked about. But still, cool to see the progression as time goes by. And you've been with Anderson the whole time.
Yeah.
So Nick had split manager, under Lavin and under Mullen.
Mm-hmm.
So you started with Anderson. What was it like when he came in? Obviously, you didn't know anything else, but did you feel kind of a change in the way that the program started to look?
Yeah, for sure. I just feel like, from what I heard in the past, obviously can't speak on it, but I just feel like everything was more tightly ran and not as loose as it was before, I guess you could say. People were held accountable for everything they did. I don't know. I mean, from the past, I just heard that, people like shoot around, like people could just wear whatever they wanted to. But Coach Anderson likes to have all the players in practice loops and uniforms and stuff like that. So I just feel like, with that being said, that being held accountable is one of the biggest things that I feel like was a change from the previous coaching staff to this one that I could tell when I first got there.
And I'm sure
It definitely seems like that from the outside. I mean, from the inside, but
Yeah,
from knowing the inside of the previous one, it definitely seems like that for sure.
definitely, for sure.
and certainly with Nick as the head manager, it was absolutely a mess. The guy's got no control.
That was fun. We had a lot more managers than you guys have right now.
Oh, really?
We had too many managers. Yeah, we had like 24 or 5 managers in total.
Oh my.
It was
We
too much.
have 9, I believe.
Yeah, see,
And
that's
then
better.
we had to cut 2 because of COVID, because the school didn't want as many people around the players to keep them safe. So we had to cut 2, unfortunately. But they'll be back next year.
Makes sense though. I mean, obviously less people, less likely to get it. We've already had some issues with COVID, so
Yeah.
better to keep the chances low. So what's the best part of your job?
I would say just being around the guys, honestly. And I mean, I would say traveling, just going across, I guess the Midwest and the East, Upper East, Northeast. So, I mean, I've been to some of these places just, with my family and stuff, but traveling to like these are new arenas and getting that feel on a game day on the road and then winning like last night is
Right.
no better feeling than that. So
which arena have you liked? So of the away arenas, which ones have you liked the most so far?
I'd say UConn at Gamble. Just because last year we won there and they were, I think, 25th in the country at the time.
Right.
I think. So that one was pretty fun. And then I would say second would be Pfizer Forum, just because it's so nice and brand new. And I've yet to go to Hinkle, so that'll be on the. So I feel like that no, so I think that'll jump probably first or second on my list.
Yeah, Hinkle's amazing.
We've talked to. I mean, Rudd also said Hinkle, and Nick and I have talked about Hinkle. Hinkle's special. But I went. So I wasn't there when it was the Pfizer Forum, but I was there before that when it was the
Bradley and Harris or BMO.
BMO Bradley Harris Arena, exactly. It is a nice arena, and Milwaukee's kind of interesting city. I mean, it's cold as hell, but it was a nice arena when we were there.
Now, what were you gonna say? How'd you like the UBS arena? Like, how'd you like the inside of it? Like, and the and the under catacombs of it.
I'm kind of split on it. As a manager, it was the worst experience you could imagine. Just because it was basically a home game it was obviously a home game for us, but we had to bring all of the Gatorade coolers, the basketballs, fill them all up. Usually at MSG, they have, facilities, people that do that for us. But this was the first ever game at UBS, so they didn't know what to expect or anything.
Right.
So we had to bring everything from school. That's just a whole nother process before the game that, at Carnesecca, we're there. If a game's at 7, we're there at 11, maybe even before, starting to get ready for the game. But so we had to stay at a hotel there for the UBS game the night before. So we weren't able to go set up the morning of. So we got there and 2 hours before the game and had to set everything up and just run around. So we didn't have much time to set up and stuff like that, like a normal game day.
That sounds rough.
Yeah, it was brutal, honestly.
They didn't have anybody to help you guys?
No, it was literally just the managers.
Jeez. Yeah. Nobody fought from the arena? Damn.
No, because they just didn't know like what we needed. And I mean, they showed us around where things were and stuff that if we needed it, but like as a standpoint of helping us, it was none.
Right.
So
aside
sounds like the people who made the drinks at UBS too.
I can't comment on that.
We had a bit of a rough experience, Gabe. We went there for the game, obviously, and it was their, like you said, it was their first basketball game, and we tried to order some alcoholic beverages, and they were seemingly yeah, great, cool. You want a double or a single? We're like, yeah, great, I'll have a double. And then she just gave me 2 cups of vodka, and I was like, well, wait, but no, like I was supposed to. There's supposed to be something with this, and she goes, oh no, I can't give you anything with it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it was seemingly they had the same.
Double fisting with 2 cups of vodka.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Wild night for him. You should have seen him.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, after that game too.
After that game, yeah.
Yeah.
But it seems like you had a similar experience. So besides UBS, what's the worst part of your job?
The worst part, cleaning the locker room,
Right.
wiping up sweat. I mean, that's kind of.
Classic.
I wouldn't say long hours. I mean, they're just the hours that are unknown. Like you don't know if you're gonna do something late at night. It's just up in the air. But I mean, it has to get done, so it gets done. But like, if someone has to do something at 9:25 at night, like it sucks, but it's got to get done. So
Right.
Yeah, I remember when Nick was head manager. He was like on call all the time, basically.
Yeah.
Right? It was like anytime something happens, like you got to go.
yeah, I can definitely relate to that.
Which player would you say is like the biggest gym rat that like he's like, oh, this time of night I want to take shots right now. Who's coming with me?
Julian is the biggest gym rat for sure. After the game last night, got home at 1:30 and he was in the gym after.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
So-
Sounds like a Ray Allen kind of training process right there.
Yeah, and then he was back in there this morning working out. So
Wow. They were heckling him last night.
oh, I know.
They were
He had a
getting
rough
on
one.
him.
He had a
last
rough
night.
one.
Yeah, but looking for a bounce back. So, I mean, it just shows last night whole team complete game from everyone. He had 5, I believe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we won by 21. Imagine if he would have had his average of 21.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
Right.
He would have set the Big East record for the
Yeah.
score difference.
Yep,
Yeah.
probably. I'm not sure what the number is, but I can only
It's
imagine.
40. It's 40 because Villanova said it like last week against somebody.
Butler, right?
Against Butler, yeah. Or
Yeah.
was
Okay.
it Butler or Creighton?
It was
It
Butler.
was Butler.
It's
Butler.
Yeah, Butler.
All right.
Um,
Oh, Gabe, I got a question. Did you?
Yep.
You could definitely hear me last night during the free throws, right?
Oh yeah, me and one of our GAs were crying on the bench. We're like, this is insane. Like, but I don't feel like that would have happened anywhere else with an all-student
Oh yeah.
environment. Like if we were at the Prudential Center, like
right.
I just don't think it would have happened because it wouldn't have been as small
Yeah.
and just whole student section last night basically.
Right. It's such
It
a
was
tiny
so-
gym
yeah.
too.
It felt like a high school game last night.
That's exactly what I said to my friend I came with. It felt it was like so close. Actually, kind of feels like a mini Hinkle, like on a very small scale because it's very close.
Mhm.
Vincent, what were you? Vincent, you've done games in.
No, I was just saying Walsh Gym is tiny. Walsh Gym, I went to Seton Hall, so spent a lot of time in Walsh Gym, and it's tiny. And it was funny just hearing Nick. Where I wasn't there. I was here watching it on TV, and you could still hear him on the free throws, which was just.
I
made me laugh.
was watching the game back this morning just for I don't know for whatever reason, and I could hear it last night or this morning, and I was still laughing like that was insane.
I was getting a lot of heat up there. It was fun though. It was really fun.
And then I think Kalen was airballed one at one point.
Yeah.
And if he would have done that, oh my,
Yeah, he was 5 for 10. So
something. Hey, give Nick some credit there.
That's it.
Yep.
Good job, Nick. At least
Good
you got
echo.
something done.
Shout out Walsh Gym.
That's it. So, do you prefer, from both a manager standpoint, but also just from a personal standpoint, do you prefer playing at Madison Square Garden or Carnesecca?
Personal, ooh, I would say that's tough. I'd say Carnesecca, honestly. I mean, I get the whole MSG, New York's team thing, but we just play better at Carnesecca. I think the crowds are better at Carnesecca. Don't have to stay at a hotel and the night before, don't have to pack. As a manager standpoint, that's just basically another away game for us.
Right.
For packing wise. I just feel like we have a better chance of winning at Carnesecca. We practice there every single day, and as I said, the crowd I think it makes a huge factor for us the way we play.
We definitely get more up, seemingly, or the crowd certainly is better at Carnesecca, and our team seems to certainly live off it, like you said. And I think you're right in that. In Carnesecca, I kind of feel like no matter who we're playing, we're definitely going to be in the game. Whereas at Madison Square Garden, and mainly just because New York City is always like the secondary hub every school, right? Because just the most people
Yeah.
live there. So you're always going to have the most Villanova fans outside of Philadelphia and New York. So you're always going to have that atmosphere in Madison Square Garden where it's split. Whereas in Queens, that's not going to happen. It's going to be a St. John's
Exactly.
crowd no matter what. So what's your favorite memory at St. John's?
I would say either last year when we beat Nova at Carnesecca, just because of what that meant. And then I would say my sophomore year, which was my first year as a manager, was when we beat Creighton at Carnesecca.
All your favorite games at Carnesecca.
Exactly. And then I'd say if I have a third game would be last year when we beat UConn at Gamble.
Definitely some good wins there. I mean, you've seen some good wins.
For sure.
Mike Anderson has done well so far. So,
He has, yeah.
You know, it's good to see. So obviously those 3 games are your 3 favorite games. It's funny that 2 of them are home because I guess that's easier for you as a manager, right? Doing the home game is easier than taking the team on the road.
Yeah.
So how can you really beat the Posh Alexander, like putting the put Colin Gillespie in his pocket for half the game?
Yeah,
exactly.
Guys having nightmares. He's still having nightmares, I think.
For sure. And we got him coming up on Saturday. So
yeah.
I mean, if he goes down on the ground again and Posh is running past him, like he can't. He has to just leave the school.
Can't do anything.
He's got to retire.
Yeah.
Retire before his NBA career starts.
What NBA career?
You're not wrong. So what are you most excited about for looking ahead to the rest of the season?
I would say us going on a run right now. I think if we get Nova on Saturday, I believe we have 3 games coming up after that are, I'd say, winnable. I mean, we got Providence at Carnesecca. Like I said, we play better at Carnesecca. They're 17th in the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
We played them tight at the dunk, so I feel like got them coming to Carnesecca. I feel like we have a better chance of winning that game. And then I would say also getting Julian back on track is one of the main things.
He has struggled
last
a
2
bit
games
as of
not,
late.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not worried about it at all, but just to get his confidence back. So
no, he'll get back. He's too good to be
Exactly.
bad. Have some bad games. He'll have a couple bad games here and there. Happen to string 2 of them together, but he'll get right. His shot is too good to last for that long.
And he puts too much work in for it not to show. So
Yeah, he had a 3-point shooting slump at the beginning of the season. I think it was like the 4th and 5th game or something like that, where it wasn't hitting. And then he came right back after that with Indiana and just started hitting his threes again. So I suspect next game he's just going to nail out like 4 or 5 probably.
So looking ahead to the rest of our games, what do you think our biggest test is coming up?
I mean, obviously Nova. And then I think, what is it, Super Bowl Sunday, we play UConn at the Garden.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be a tough one just because, UConn fans are going to travel to the Garden.
Right. Plus it's a Super Bowl. So some, you won't get as many fans as you normally do.
Yeah. I think those 2 games right there. And then we have February 3rd, we go to Georgetown, and the 5th we play at Butler. So we got a 2-game road trip, I guess, right there. That, I mean, 2 very, very winnable games, I believe. But road games are always tougher. So I think we have a stretch coming up that we could get some wins. So I'm looking forward to that.
Butler to Georgetown, is that your double trip this year? Where you guys just go right from Butler to Georgetown and then you drive back, or no? Or do you guys not do that?
So no, I've never been on a double road trip, so I guess we'll find out.
All right.
So I know we will drive to Georgetown first, and I'm praying we drive or fly right out of DC to, I guess, Indianapolis, because 4.5-hour bus ride back to Queens on February 4th and then fly out left that same day would be a lot of travel. I feel like within
that would be
48 hours.
Yeah.
So I'm praying that we just fly out of DC. But
it seemingly makes the most sense, particularly with that Butler, the Georgetown game being at 6:00 at night. You're not going to get done until at least 8. The game finishes around 8, and then everything from then on, you're not leaving. Yeah.
10-15
exactly.
4 hours back. So
my guess is they'll take you straight from DC, but
I hope so.
I'm hoping for you.
Talking about after games, I think it was Georgetown. It was on a Sunday. Wusu had a Chick-fil-A sandwich. How do you get a Chick-fil-A sandwich on Sunday?
I will say that we did have a post-practice meal from Chick-fil-A on Saturday, and it had to have been a leftover. Very bad.
man.
So I'm not gonna call him out, but I guess I will. So
we said I really hope it's not from Saturday. And
yeah,
man.
it will. It was. So
Well,
it's a tough look for Dylan there, but I mean, I guess Chick-fil-A is Chick-fil-A. So I mean,
Yeah.
I guess it's good heated up.
maybe we'll let it slide.
So, which player are you looking most forward to seeing grow?
Well, that's tough. I'd say Omar or Pinzone. I think Omar has a lot of intangibles that he has. Just he finishes around the basket. He has great hands, athletic, has a pretty good shot right now. He works out on it or on his shot a lot. I'm excited for him because I think he's going to get some more minutes here because coach is going to go to the bench more and he's going to show why he should be playing some minutes that he does. And then with Pinzone, I mean, he showed some flashes earlier this year that he's capable of being a point guard in the Big East. He's been out, so we'll see. Coming up here, get him back, get him some minutes. So I'm excited for him to come back too because it'll just help, give Posh some minutes that he doesn't need to play and give him some rest because he's playing 35 plus minutes a night. So give him some break.
Yeah, it's been. I mean, Pinzone had a good start, to the season, and it's been rough not having him around. So it'd be good to have him back. Just going back a little bit, obviously we were talking about Mike Anderson a lot. So what's the one piece of advice that Mike Anderson has given that you will never forget?
He always preaches a family environment, and everyone on staff, all the way from top to bottom, is tight knit. So I think taking that with me, like wherever I go, just everyone's family. And I like that because growing up, my family was always tight. So it's all we had. So on the road, he always says, all you have is yourself and in your teammates, and that's all you have. So you walk into enemy territory with just the people you came with, and that's the family you got to go to war with. And I think I'll take that to wherever I go, that whoever you have with you's got to ride with them.
So speaking of their team being a family, who's the glue that holds the family together?
I'd say Drisa or Joel. Those guys, always the biggest jokesters on the team, but I feel like they're the ones that bring everyone together and keep the room light and we're always laughing. So
which player do you have the best relationship with?
I would say Steph, Wheels, and Julian, just because me and Julian both are twins, so I think we share something there. So that's probably one of the main reasons.
Does your twin go to St. John's?
He does not. He is the head manager at Syracuse.
Oh no!
Oh
Yeah,
not Syracuse.
Yeah.
We hate Syracuse.
So he's going to the Raptors next.
yeah.
What's funny though? I thought you were going to say that he went to Pitt and was the head manager at Pitt. That would have been really funny, considering you're from Pitt, and then Julian. That would have been hysterical.
Yeah, exactly. But we also had that connection that Justin went to Pitt, so he kind of knew the area over there as well too. So yeah.
All right, so now I got some additional questions. So very cool that you're both head managers. Unfortunate for him that he has to do it in Syracuse.
I know.
How did being from Pittsburgh, how did your brother end up going? I mean, obviously you going to St. John's from Pittsburgh, former Big East rivalry. That's one thing. And your brother going to Syracuse, you guys really you wanted nothing to do with the Pitt Panthers, huh?
Yeah, I would say growing up we weren't really Pitt fans of any sports, obviously, besides the Steelers and the Pirates. Not really big hockey family. So, but yeah, I mean, I would say I hate Pitt athletics in general, just because I feel like they're the cockiest fans ever, and they're never good.
Sounds a lot like New York fans.
I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna go
minus Yankees.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
But
Wow.
but I was my
they've
brother's
won.
Guy's geographically confused, thinks he can make jokes about all the New York teams, huh? Just because you root for teams that don't live near you, Nick, doesn't mean you get rights to make fun of them. How many Super Bowls have the Chargers won? Okay, that's right. Gabe, back to you.
No, I was just gonna say that my brother's dream school was Syracuse, so
You
he's
lo-
also a sport analytics major, and they're the best in the country. So, I mean,
That's
no
right.
better place to go. So,
I guess he gets a pass. I mean, not really.
yeah, we'll
but
give him one.
we'll give him
And
one.
unfortunately, we were playing Syracuse next year. That Ross team leaked that or broke that news
Yeah.
earlier this year, so we kind of missed it by 1 year. But
Oh, that's
Yeah,
rough.
that would have been cool. That would have been cool if
Yeah.
you guys
Look.
were on the opposite sidelines.
yeah,
another twin matchup just missed off by a year.
exactly.
Yep.
True.
Yep. We'll see. Maybe there could be a tournament appearance. Who knows?
Yeah.
Hopefully, we make the tournament, not them.
Yeah.
So, what's something you would tell the fan base about this team that you think we, as a fan base, overlook?
I would just say that we just need to all relax after 2 games.
Couldn't agree more with you.
I know these fans want these guys to win every night, which obviously that's the goal, but it's just not possible. I feel like we're gonna run into some tough times and tough patches on the road, but just give us some time. I mean, we showed last night that what we're capable of, and now we have it on film, and now that's the expectation. So we keep it pushing, and could get some wins down the road. And I'm not, I wasn't a St. John's fan growing up, obviously not from the area, but my time here, the past 2 years we've had runs in the second half of the Big East play. So our time's coming. I'm not really worried about it.
So, sort of in the same vein, what's one thing that Coach Anderson does with his players that you think makes him such a good coach that the fan base doesn't really know about?
Like I mentioned earlier, the accountability part, and trusting your teammates and playing to why you were recruited to play at St. John's, like top 10 winningest program of all time. Like you should be held to a standard here now that you need to play to that expectation of who played here before you and who made the program what it is. I think that him showing, like telling our players that they need to play to those standards has really, like, I feel like elevated people's games this year and obviously the past 2 years to kind of bring us back to where we need to be and where we're going to be.
That's great. I mean, that's something I think the fan base has not forgotten about, but us being one of the 10 most winning programs is, not always something that's most prevalent because we've struggled a bit over the past few years. And, if Mike Anderson, seemingly he's done a great job of putting us in a place to win, pushing that mantra and moving that along. I think that's great.
Yeah. A lot of times people forget about the history of St. John's. And they also, one of the arguments that you also just made before, Vincent, that we've never won anything, except the fact that we won, 3 NIPs when they were like the best tournament. We won 2 other ones later. But Gabe, I got a question for you. So you guys were supposed to play the Seton Hall managers. What happened there?
So I'm just gonna say we had 2 backouts late.
Okay. Because
I'm
you
not
guys
gonna I shouldn't mention any names. It was nothing was COVID related, so just chalk that. But we had some late arrivals at the hotel and things like that. So
it's always tough being on the road because you got like a very limited amount of guys who can actually suit it up.
Exactly.
So if like I don't know,
they didn't want to smoke anyway, so they're lucky.
oh yeah, there's a little rivalry. Good, I like that.
They called us out, so gotta talk back.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
You
gotta remind them.
When were you supposed to play?
What was it? Sunday night?
Oh, Sunday night. Okay, yeah. Because I was going to say it was pretty hard with the game on Saturday and the game on Monday.
Yeah, and it's tough for us because we can't play obviously MSG for manager games.
Right.
So and we play obviously a lot of home games there. So and we can't. I mean, it'd be tough to go back to campus just to play a manager game and then drive right back to the city that same night. So it's tough for us. And then on the road, we travel with 3 or 4 managers, so the numbers are also low on the road. So
Yeah, sometimes you got to get like GAs and everybody. That's
yeah,
why
I'm not
Rudd's
gonna
got to
say.
come in and play.
Well, Red was one that backed out, so
Oh, come on.
Oh,
I
no.
know.
I got to talk to him later after that.
Yeah, but I didn't want to
Yeah.
mention any names, but you brought it up.
Sometimes you
so.
got to do what you got to
It's all right.
do.
He was on the
You
show.
are-
We
he's
can
on the
talk
road.
bad about him a
He's
little
on
bit.
Yeah.
You guys haven't played a lot of manager games this year, have
We
you?
played 2.
Who else did you play?
We played at Indiana and at Creighton because we played all these smaller teams at home during non-conference that don't travel with any managers.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
remember.
like you can't even play them. So
That's tough.
So I don't know if you know, we used to do like a Big East manager tournament at actually Terminal 23 in the city over by,
Oh,
we used to have
really?
a connection. Yeah. So one of my old head managers knew the head manager at Villanova who had a connection at Terminal 23. And we
Yeah.
used to go there and we used to play Big East manager tournaments for the Big East tournament like the night
That's
before.
awesome. That's so awesome.
There any potential for you guys to do that? I know you probably they can't do it there because they took down the court. That's not even a court anymore, I don't think. And
Just go to Dykeman.
yeah, you're gonna play outside at night. You know how long that takes?
Oh,
We
hey,
did a
I've done it.
tournament. We did it over like there was we got usually had 8 teams, so it's 2v2 and then
Yeah.
tournament style.
Hey, I got no problem going to Dykeman to play. That's like the center of outdoor basketball right there.
It's fair.
It's
That
true.
or if you can convince all the other managers to go over to Queens, then you have enough courts between
True.
at Taffner.
Yeah. That's also a good point too. We could do that. And
Sure, I
we
mean,
could go
everyone's in there.
Carnesecca too. That's 3 courts we could use.
Yeah. The finals could be in Carnesecca. Let's try to get like the red zone to come out, get some fraternities to come out and stuff.
Yep.
Make it
for
a whole
sure.
thing. So you've been there for 4 years, and like I remember where the like locker room and everything was at. The facilities were at when I left, which was I guess a year before you went in. What's like the
Yep.
biggest change or like the best change you would say to like the facilities between like the locker room, Taffner, all that
Yeah.
other stuff? Kind
Um,
of second the whole 9.
I would say, well, they just did the Carnesecca statue in front of, or when you walk in Carnesecca. I would say like just the lobby area of Carnesecca, I guess, got kind of updated, and then obviously the locker room is the newest thing. And they redid some of the upstairs offices too, like the flooring and stuff like that. So it looks cleaner now. But yeah, I would just say they've kind of added some, logos and decals around the facility, kind of like make it look nicer. So they're doing some good things over there. But yeah, just the locker room's obviously the nicest thing now.
Nice. I remember when I started, it was white walls and like pictures and picture frames of like old Carnesecca pictures and old
Yeah.
Mullen pictures. Yeah, it was bad. And then they put art on the wall, and now I guess they've changed it. They've changed it since then too.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's amazing to see it, the transition.
Yeah. And I forget who showed me the picture, but Taffner, when they put the St. John's, like, I guess, like not wallpaper up, but like, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about,
yeah,
like along
all
the
the-
top.
Uh-huh.
It was just like white walls before
Yeah,
that, and it looked pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
that's when I
But
started. It was white walls and like how they have LED lights. They weren't
Yeah.
LED lights. They were the old style lights. And then they
Jeez.
changed it one thing. It was like, oh my god, it's so much brighter in here.
The one thing I will say that needs upgraded is the lights in Carnesecca. If all the lights were turned out for intros before the game, it would just make the atmosphere better. They turned half the lights off, and it just kind of doesn't.
Yeah.
The vibe just isn't that good. And I think that would be an easy fix. But I don't know.
It's those HD lights. They take time to turn on.
Yeah.
Yep. At least
We'll hit up Craig
5
on
minutes.
Twitter.
Yeah,
They ask the AD.
Yep.
that's
Yeah.
right. And new lights in Carnesecca.
He hasn't done one in a minute, so
I'm sure we get on him. Next one he has, we'll get on him.
All right. Well, Gabe, thanks for coming on with us. It's been great talking to you. Good to get some insight into the team, and just really nice to meet you.
Yeah, no problem, guys. It was a great time.
We want to thank Gabe for coming on with us again. It's always interesting to see, from a different perspective, the team from a different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I was a former head manager, exactly like him at St. John's. It's interesting to see another manager's perspective.
One of the things that stuck out to me from his interview was how he talked about Mike Anderson. Obviously, he talked about setting up, a kind of a family. This team is a family, and we've all heard that mantra about Mike Anderson. But what stuck out to me was when he talked about how Mike Anderson pushes accountability to kind of the greater historic image of St. John's, to being one of the top 10 winningest programs of all time. That's not something that fans think about all the time, about how a historical program we have. And for a guy who's not from New York, who didn't have ties to the area, for him to use that to push his players, I thought was kind of interesting to see.
When Gabe brought up the statement about Julian and after the Seton Hall victory, even though we did win and we should have been celebrating, he went immediately to the gym, started working on a shot. So everyone that's worried about his lull in shooting right now, he is worried too, and he's making sure that it's just a 2-game lapse.
Yeah, he's a hard worker. I think he's gonna be all right. I think he'll be fine. And I like the point that you said, like about Mike Anderson holds just historic standards. That matters, and that's great.
All right, let's look ahead to Villanova. Saturday, 4:30 on Fox in Philadelphia. Villanova coming in 15-5 on the year, 8-2 in the conference, 14 in the country. They're coming off of a 2-game win streak. They beat Georgetown 85-74. They beat DePaul 67-43. They won't play anybody before they play us, so we'll be their next matchup. Colin Gillespie leads the team with 17.3 points per game. He also leads the team in assists with 3.2 a game. Jermaine Samuels leads the team in rebounding, 6.4 per game. He's also their leading blocker, averaging 0.8 blocks a game, but he'll be the guy down low attempting to block us. This Villanova team is not the top 5 team that Jay Wright is used to, but it is still a great, solid team. It's a team that has a ton of talent and is going to be, we're going to have a work cut out for us on Saturday. Hopefully we take that win on Monday and we use that to, swing the momentum in our favor and roll into this game with some confidence.
Look, I don't know if it's just the Monday blowout talking, but I really feel like we could win this game on Saturday. After I know they're 14th in the country, I know we're playing at the Pavilion. We're not even playing at the Wells Fargo Center, but I don't know. Maybe it's just the high of the win. But I feel like we can do it. I can just see Posh eating up Colin Gillespie for lunch, like he did last year. And I don't know. I got a good feeling about this, which is probably bad for in reality, but it feels good.
With Nova this year, they are a very low turnover team. They're averaging 9.5 turnovers per game, but they are averaging only 12 assists a game. So obviously it looks like a opportunity for some trapping, which we did a great job at against Seton Hall, but does their 3-point shooting end up hurting us on the traps or the push once they push through the half court press?
They are the third best shooting 3-point team in the Big East. I don't know though.
They shoot 36% from 3. That's pretty good.
They were low turnover last year though too, and that's not what happened when they played us.
They also hold a lot of the teams to a very few amount of points. They hold teams to 60.9 points a game. It's low, and we're a team that used to score.
We're the leading
over
scorers
80.
in the Big East.
Where do we how many?
80.3.
Yeah, 80.3. So we're that's more than a 20-point difference. That's going to be I think that's going to be
that's
the
a
most
matchup to
important,
watch.
yeah.
Absolutely, 100%. And the turnovers, like you mentioned, Tim, is going to be a number to watch. They don't turn over the ball a lot. We turn over people a lot. They don't turn people over all that much though. I mean, their turnover margin is +3, but you have to remember their number is so low. They only turn the ball over about 9 times a game, and they're turning people over about 12 times a game, which is kind of right near our average in turning the ball over. So if we have our average game on the turnover margin and our points margin, Craig, you may be right. We may get a happy Saturday and come away with a victory.
That would be great. But I think also for us, the pace. It's pace for us. They want to go slow. We want to go fast. If we can push the pace like we did against Seton Hall on Monday night, it could be a good Saturday. If we get into a half court contest with them, that's not where we're going to thrive.
I wonder with Colin Gillespie, who's going to be the ball handler when he's off ball or when he's on the bench. Because if they don't have someone that's going to truthfully be that backup point guard that's going to handle it, there's a good chance that he can get into foul trouble just trying to guard Posh.
They never call fouls on Villanova, Tim. You know that.
They
You and I both
never
know that.
ever call fouls. on
Villanova is still under the limit from the last time they made the championship.
Well, Jay Wright might freak out when he gets one foul, so
Right.
he'll pull him.
Villanova, they don't foul. That's just who they are. Yeah, right.
They're Villanova.
So like Nate Watson just doesn't foul.
That's right.
gross.
By the way, Tim, the kid you're talking about is probably going to be their Justin Moore, their junior guard, who averages 15.8 points of a game and 2.4 assists, along with 5.1 rebounds. Just to have another guy off the ball. That's going to be their off-ball guy.
Yeah, but
Probably.
I mean, when Gillespie's off the court, who's going to?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Still probably going to be.
Also,
Just considering that's probably their second best guard.
another thing to talk about pace and talk about the Seton Hall game too. Montez Mathis, we haven't talked about it in a while. I feel like he had another double-digit game against Seton Hall going into his Villanova matchup. He's the key. When he gets double-digit points,
we win.
we win.
Undefeated.
Yeah.
Undefeated. I think 9-0, 9-0, 10-0, something like that.
9-0.
So let's get Montez the ball more. Let's get him to 10 points, and then we know we're gonna win.
Yeah,
Lock it in.
He looked very good at the beginning of the Seton Hall game on Saturday. He had our first 4 out of our first 8 points or something. He came
mean-
out hot. I remember that.
And he did good on. He really did good on Monday.
If Mathis can get us get in double digits, with the way Aaron Wheeler is playing and Posh being Posh, if Champagny is his normal self, then we really do have a shot in this Villanova game. If you've got Mathis in double digits, Wheeler in double digits, Posh and Julian having games that they normally have, and a Dewusu hopefully getting back in double digits, then then it's not so much of a pipe dream. Then I think it's actually a chance that we can come away with a win. Obviously, it's a stretch. I mean, they're a very good team. It's a quad one opportunity because they're 14 in the country and their net's even higher. So it's going to be a hard game, and it's hopefully it's not going to be a Creighton scenario. Hopefully it's more like a at Walsh Gym scenario, but you never know. I mean, this is our team, as we can see, plays up and plays down, and when we play up, we can be really good.
What's interesting to note is the reason we're playing at the Pavilion is because Wells Fargo Center is hosting the East Regional in the NCAA tournament. In order for Villanova to be eligible to play there during the NCAA tournament, they cannot play more than 3 games at the Wells Fargo Center. That's why we're scheduled at the Pavilion this year, because they're only playing 3 Big East games at the Wells Fargo Center.
That's really wild. I didn't realize that was a rule.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a rule.
So they're-
what regional?
It's the East.
the
so
East Regional.
They want to be able to.
They
play
want to
in
be
the
able to
East.
play at Wells Fargo during the tournament, and
Yeah.
the way they're set up right now,
if
if they're
make it up to the Sweet 16 point, right? That's what that makes it up.
it's the
first.
regional. So yeah, it would be up to
yeah.
it would be the Sweet 16 and the Elite
And
8.
Elite Eight.
Wow.
So if they can get there, which Villanova has a track record of generally getting there, and when they're good, they're 14th in the country, they very well could be a top seed. If they get placed in the East, that is some home court advantage. That
I mean, to be honest, it's a smart move. Right?
you got to give them credit.
I
for
mean,
that.
if you get the opportunity for that to do that, you might as well, because there, yeah, your ultimate. You'd be in your own locker room, right, for the Elite
Right.
Eight. Could you imagine? That's the dream.
Going back to our earlier point when you guys were talking about how Villanova never commits any fouls and we commit all the fouls in the world, what I worry about for this game is that Colin Gillespie, I mean, he's going to be their main ball handler, and he is 14th in the country in free throw shooting percentage at 91.1%. So he's going to be getting to the line a lot probably because, 1, he is their golden boy, and 2, it's Colin Gillespie.
And by Colin Gillespie, you mean Ryan Arcidiacono, because Colin Gillespie is just Ryan Arcidiacono, who had 4 years, won a national championship, and was like, you know what, I really am not done playing for Villanova, so I'll just go and we'll take a picture of a different kid and we'll act like it's this kid named Colin Gillespie, but in retrospect, it's just going to be Ryan Arcidiacono because they play the same game and they look exactly alike, because it's Ryan Arcidiacono who's getting 4 more years of eligibility at Villanova. And just to make it even sweeter, they put his brother on the roster to make it seem like, oh no, that kid with the Arcidiacono jersey, just in case Ryan puts on the wrong one, is his brother. It's not him. It's his brother. It's his brother who's on the team now. No way is Colin Gillespie a different player than Ryan Arcidiacono. I will die on this hill. You can't tell me he's different.
conspiracy theory, baby.
That's it. Ryan Arcidiacono getting 8 years of eligibility, absolutely absurd. Just absurd. You'll get to see him Saturday, 4:30 on Fox as we take on the Villanova Wildcats. All right, that'll do it for the show. For Tim, Craig, Nick, I'm Vincent. Thanks for listening. Go Johnnies. Keep chasing.